Psycho pigeon, you really are crazy.
Gentlemen, welcome in. An audience, welcome in to Action Movie Rewind. Every Friday here on Mackey and Judd, we dive into a new action movie. And to this point, we've reviewed like 15 of them. And we rank them, and we do full dives and discuss every potential nook and cranny of said action movie. And this is a gem right here. Judd picked a classic from 1987, Lethal Weapon, starring Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Gary Busey as Mr. Joshua. Gary Busey, man.
Bravo, Gary.
Is this after the car crash?
No, this is before the car crash.
Yeah, he doesn't look as weird.
No, this is before. Like Gary had a run. I think the car crash was sometime in the 90s.
Okay.
Because Gary we could probably look that up. But Lethal Weapon, 1987, the first of a 4-movie franchise, and also a Fox TV spinoff in the 2015-16 range.
That was unfortunate.
I never saw one episode.
I watched one time.
It was bad?
It was not good.
All right.
Not surprising, though.
So this movie generated an 80% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. $15 million budget turned into $120 million at the box office. Here's the summary. LA cop Martin Riggs, Mel Gibson, whose wife has recently died. Recently, meaning 7 years ago, by the way. I don't know if you guys caught that part. 7 years ago. There was mention, maybe I'm wrong on this, but there was a mention that his wife had died in a car accident 7 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
Riggs is a loose cannon with a seeming death wish. This makes him indispensable in collaring dangerous criminals, but a liability to any potential partners on the police force. Roger Murtaugh, played by Danny Glover, is a conservative family man who wants to stay alive for his upcoming 50th birthday, and he's partnered with Riggs. As Riggs gets to know Murtaugh and his family, he begins to mellow out, though his insistence on using guerrilla tactics to catch criminals is still, to put it mildly, above and beyond the call of duty. The main villain is the General, a drug dealer responsible for the death of the daughter of one of Murtaugh's oldest friends. The General is also in charge of a deadly militia-like gang of smugglers. Adding fuel to the fire is the General's chief henchman, played with All Stops Out by Gary Busey.
Yes, that's exactly right. All Stops Out is well put.
And so this movie winds up with Murtaugh and Riggs attempting to take down this militia of drug and heroin smugglers led by
Secret
the General
Ops, yeah. They're
and
tough.
Gary Busey. These aren't your ordinary run-of-the-mill drug dealers. These are special ops ninjas. What was your favorite part of Lethal Weapon?
Okay.
Start with Judd.
Okay, I actually want to bring this to the table because I had forgotten it, and I sat down with the computer to watch this and broke down the film, and I have a question, but more so an observation off the original Lethal Weapon. Boys, this is more a Christmas film than Die Hard.
Yes.
Wow.
This is more
Yes.
of they acknowledge more about Christmas than Die Hard sort of throws it in and they're having the party. But this is Merry Christmases through. I had completely forgotten this.
All right, let's get in this because the movie starts and ends with Christmas music.
That's exactly right.
Jingle Bell Rock.
I'll be home for Christmas. No, I know. This is a revelation to me. I had completely forgotten this or never taken note.
Now, all right, I will pick a nit with you. It is more. I will say it is more of a Christmas movie than we probably have given it thought to, because it is bookended by Christmas music, and it takes place. It's Southern California, right? It takes place
California,
in and
yes.
around Christmas.
Yes.
Now,
LA.
Die Hard took place. Die Hard, to me, is more Christmas. It also had Christmas music. Die Hard took place at a Christmas Eve company party.
Yes.
Ooh.
So Die Hard took place all on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Which makes it a little bit more of a Christmas movie. Like the whole plot was centered around a
if
terroristic takeover of a
Die
Christmas
Hard is
party.
a Christmas film. This has to be considered a Christmas film.
It's in the conversation more than I would have thought before watching it again.
So I haven't seen either of Lethal Weapon, and I still haven't seen Die Hard start to finish.
Oh my! Oh,
What?
Yeah, I know. Don't pull me over. Don't pull me over.
No, I feel you have to.
I think
No,
now we know
you've gotta
next
do
week's
it.
decision.
You've gotta do
No,
it.
oh dang it, I don't.
This is
Okay.
Hot Take Cops is recorded on location with the men and women of sports talk. All suspects are innocent until proven
Here,
guilty
hold on.
in Hot Take Court.
License. Get my insurance out.
This is like telling me on the first date that you've got a kid.
I
This is
don't know how to process
wait,
this.
No.
I don't know how to process that. You're so innocent in Action Movie Rewind. This is amazing.
I
You've
am.
never seen all
great.
of Die Hard?
No, I haven't. And I know that there's an act. I always heard the lore of, was it Die Hard or Lethal Weapon that is a Christmas movie. So when I'm watching Lethal Weapon, I'm like, oh, that's the joke. It is. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought it was Die Hard that everyone gets all crazy about for being a Christmas movie.
So I am like, my emotion here is not to be like mad at Declan for not having seen Die Hard. I am so happy now that we get to at some point, and it's my choice to pick a movie this week.
It is.
We get to watch Die Hard with essentially a first timer. Like if you've seen clips of it, that's great, but to watch it from start to finish. There's also
a virgin.
There's also he's a
Die Hard virgin.
Thanks, guys.
There's also a great every year at Lynn Lake Bowl in Uptown.
Yeah.
Josh Carson is the lead writer, and he plays Bruce Willis's part in a very Die Hard Christmas here in the Twin Cities. It's like a spoof play on Die Hard, and it's amazing. So, anyways, wow, that's an amazing, brave admission by Declan, and we need more of that on Action Movie Rewind.
Okay,
great.
Wow.
All right, so your favorite part of the movie is that it's a Christmas movie.
No. That was just my top observation after hearing the opening, the music for the opening scene and the last scene. My favorite part is not the "do you want a shot at the title" part, which I actually do love. But you know what I picked? I love that they spend the first part of the film trying to establish, or at least make you think on and off, that Riggs is totally crazy. I love the scene where he cuffs himself to the guy who's going to jump and then jumps for him.
That was
and takes him off the building.
Now you can jump if you want to, but you'll be taking me with you, and that makes you a murderer. Okay? Come on, let's go back. Yeah, you'll be killing a cop.
Yeah, I'll be killing a psycho nut.
Yeah, psycho, but I'm still a cop. You coming in? Come on, I'm going in.
You, I'm jumping.
Do you really want to jump? Do you want to? Well, then that's fine with me. Come on. Let's do it, asshole. Let's
Wait a
do
minute.
it.
What?
I want to do it. I want to do it.
What do you mean?
They overplayed the
Great
drama
scene.
there because there was a giant pad
Right,
that
but you
covered the
didn't know
whole
that.
block.
I know that.
But they knew it.
Okay, but it's
they
still
knew it.
It's a fun scene. I love the dialogue.
That was also my favorite scene, but I'll pick another one. That is an excellent scene, especially when, hey, you want a cigarette? He was just like he's leveling with them. It's absolutely hilarious.
It's comedy. He's crazy.
We will do a deep dive just into Riggs' character here. So my favorite part of this movie is it's less like a part of the movie and it's more what this movie represented. This movie represented the peak of 80s glorification of cops. 80s and 90s glorification of police officers. It was like there was a run on movies and series from Lethal Weapon, and it goes from like the mid 80s into the 90s. Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, Beverly Hills Cop. These are all like multi-movie.
48 hours.
48 hours.
Same thing.
Kindergarten
Great
Cop,
movie.
even like, that's like Kindergarten Cop is like, how far can we go with like cop heroism? Arnold Schwarzenegger and a bunch of kindergartners. Let's see what happens. And pretty much every Steven Seagal movie is like him as a tormented cop and he's going to get revenge, right?
Yes.
We just had this ridiculous run. Like I couldn't see in today's climate having movies like this come out that glorify police officers because there's just a lot of controversy over treatment of black people, etc. In fact, there was a line in this movie where they're interviewing the 6-year-old kid who saw the 6-year-old kid saw the special forces guy who blew up the house. Mm-hmm. And at one point, like one of the kids says, "My mom says police kill black people." It's like, could that?
I caught that. Yes.
30 years later. So I think just like the glorification of these, if you boil this movie down, and you just take Riggs and Murtaugh as police officers.
Yes.
And how many times they did things that were unethical, illegal, like overt force when not necessary. They are mostly terrible police officers who take their I don't know, like they take it too far.
The best part about every film that you mentioned, Phil, is this. There's no paperwork after you kill people.
No.
And there's no, we need your gun. There's just, they kill the first guy, I think, and I think it's supposed to be their first day together. They shoot the guy, and then they go to Murtaugh's house for dinner.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's the day.
Yeah.
We killed a guy. You got to kill everybody.
So when they went to go talk to the pimp and the pimp pulled a gun and they shot him and he was in the pool at one point. Or are you talking about different? Okay.
Yes. No, the pool.
Yeah.
The guy who died in the pool and they just killed him and then they're like, let's go have dinner.
All right. Your least favorite part about Lethal Weapon?
Wait, Dex.
Oh, I have a couple. I have a favorite part.
Oh, I thought you said your favorite part was.
But I'll provide something else to the table here. It's when they're when they kill the guy at the pool, and then all the cops come afterwards, and they're hanging out. Like Mel Gibson and Danny Glover are hanging out in like the back pool area, like little pool house, and Glover's trying to have like a really important conversation with Mel Gibson. And Gibson's just glued watching football, trying to put on his pants.
Yeah.
It was just like, wait a minute. Like, this guy is like, he's borderline, he's depressed, obviously. He's insane. And Glover's trying to have like a real legitimate conversation, cop to cop. And he's cared about like the football game that's on the television while also trying to get dressed. It was just a ridiculous scene.
He's a psycho. And they knew he was suicidal. And they were trying to cover it up and say, no, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. He's just going to go get the bag.
Or is he crazy?
Yeah.
Actually, we should do a dive just into Riggs. All right. Here, I just took notes throughout the movie on like the things that Riggs did from the beginning to the end and the four main things that stood out. So right away at the beginning of this movie, the movie actually opens, in addition to Jingle Bell Rock, it opens with the naked woman doing cocaine in a penthouse apartment, jumping 30 stories to her death because somebody had put like poison in her drink or something, right?
Yes.
And so it was her father that this was Amanda Hunsaker was the name of the woman who killed herself, and she had gotten caught up in prostitution and drugs and things.
And her dad had saved Danny Glover's life in Vietnam.
Yes,
and so he owed him.
But her dad also used to be a part of this shadow company, this heroin smuggling operation. Kept it going.
I mean, wouldn't you?
If it made a lot of money,
it's a lot.
It's tough times.
Heroin business is good business. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard it's really lucrative.
So the dad Hunsaker wants out of the shadows. He contacts Murtaugh, and then the shadow company finds out that he had contacted Murtaugh, so they have him killed. And now
Murtaugh while he's talking to Murtaugh.
And so then Murtaugh and Riggs are then looking to take down the whole operation, but from a Riggs perspective, so the first time we see Riggs, he's waking up hungover, naked, and just like sitting on his bed, strategically placed cameras so you just see his backside. Mm-hmm. He walks over to his fridge and pulls out a Coors to start the day.
Oh, great
just
Coors Banquet.
Pounds of Coors to start the day.
And did you guys see subsequently every beer that anyone drank in Lethal Weapon was a Coors banquet beer?
Yes.
Amazing.
On the boat.
Early product placement.
He hands him a Coors.
Love me a Banquet.
Are you really?
Yes, I love me a Coors Banquet.
Okay.
Hate Coors Light. Love Banquet.
Might have to go get some tonight. And then you had Riggs busting the drug dealers early on. So he shows up and he's going to buy, it looked like cocaine. I think it was cocaine, right? Because he's like snorting
at a Christmas tree place.
Yeah.
At the Christmas tree place, yes. And so he's got these two drug dealers and he's sampling the cocaine and he goes, and they said, how much do you want? And he goes, I'll take the whole thing.
Yeah. And
they said for $100. And so he pulls out his wallet and starts counting to $100 in cash, and they get mad at him because it's $100,000. They're like, no, dude. And so then he pulls out his badge, and of course it's like he pulls out his badge, and there's just like a massive gunfight, and no paperwork.
He kills like two guys.
Now I can read you guys your rights, but now you guys already know what your rights are, don't you?
This badge ain't real. You ain't real.
Oh, you sure are a crazy son of a bitch.
You think I'm crazy?
Yeah.
How you calling me crazy? You think I'm crazy? Yeah, you want to see crazy? I'll tell you. Now, that's a real badge. I'm a real cop, and this is a real gun.
Okay, pal.
Hey, nose is in the dirt, asshole.
And there's a guy behind the Christmas trees in the truck who shoots at Riggs, but he hits the dealer, and then Riggs turns around and blows him away, and it's just fantastic.
Yes. Then you also we talked about the ledge scene where he handcuffs himself to the jumper.
Yes.
The other great Riggs scene in this movie was they go to the shooting range, and Murtaugh is very proud about like, I still got it at 50, right? He's like shooting the shooting range target in the chest and the face. So the first time you see Riggs's shooting range, it's like all the bullets are perfectly aligned on the face and on the chest. And then, all right, now Murtaugh's going to show you what's up. So Murtaugh does the quick draw, like from 20 yards away, boom, right in the face. Riggs sends the shooting target all the way back to the back of the, whatever, it's like 50 yards away or something.
Yep.
He shoots it 7 times into a smiley face in the guy's face. Although I counted 7 gunshots and there was actually 8 bullet holes, so that was a continuity issue in Lethal Weapon. But that was a great scene, too, where he shows off at the gun range.
Murtaugh's good. Damn.
Have a nice day. That's what he says at the end. It's great.
Yep. So, all right, what else stood out to you in this movie? Actually, let's go back to least favorite part. Least favorite parts.
Mine is very simple. It's at the top of my notes. In fact, it's note number 4 because it didn't happen until far too late. Very, very simple, boys. Not enough Busey.
Yeah, I agree.
I wanted more Busey. There was no reason why we couldn't have gotten more. Like, that character was not going to get old quickly. That is a great bad guy. In fact, it's one of the best bad guys I've seen. Hint, hint, tease, tease. I could have used a dose of Busey throughout that film way more consistently. I mean, he's so damn good.
There's that
he's
scene,
nuts,
too.
But he's so damn good.
I think it was the first or second scene we saw him where they're at the general guy. These guys come in to do a drug deal or something, and the general guy wants to show, hey, if you screw us, Mr. Joshua here, Gary Busey, is a psychopath, and he will find you. And to prove that, he tells Mr. Joshua, Gary Busey, roll up your sleeve. And he pulls out the lighter and he burns Gary Busey's forearm while he sits there straight-faced to scare the guys who were going to come in and buy these drugs.
I wanted more, though.
Yeah, there could have been like 4 more scenes
Busey
just like
was
that.
that's a great, great character.
He was. Declan, what was your least favorite part?
There's a couple, and it's more of just like, I don't understand why this happened. At the beginning of the movie, like I think one of the first scenes where Glover's in the bathtub and his whole family just comes in and wishes him a happy birthday, like totally nude in the bath. Like, I come from a pretty close family, and we know a lot of each other's business, but I was like, this is a little strange that like dad's in the bathtub and all the kids are coming in to wish him a happy birthday, and I thought that was really weird.
They did it. So this is one of the rare 80s action movies that does a really good job of character development, and they did it in small little pockets. They didn't do like 30 minutes of a character story. They did. It was like the first 10 or 15 minutes. They wanted to show you that Riggs is a psychopath whose wife got killed in a car accident 7 years ago, and he still feels the pain. And so they accomplished this all in like 2 scenes where he's hungover in the morning, he cracks a Coors, he's disheveled, he's crying on the couch, he puts a gun in his mouth.
Gun in his mouth with the special bullet.
Right.
Hollowed up bullet.
And then at the end of the movie, of course, he doesn't need that special bullet anymore, so he gives it back to Murtaugh as a present. But they wanted to show Murtaugh as this family man who values his daughter. And
Declan's sort of right, though. It was weird.
It was strange.
Like, I don't think I want my teenage daughter walking into the bathroom while I'm sitting there in the bathtub.
Yeah.
I
didn't get it.
I get what you're saying, Phil, but that scene did strike me as, really? You really want your birthday cake in the bathtub? Okay.
And in the Michael Hunsaker scene right before he gets killed, like in his office or wherever, Hunsaker, the guy gets killed. And right beforehand, though, you notice he like takes a carton of eggnog and like chugs it. And then if you notice, he puts it down and there's just cartons of clearly eggnog at room temperature in this guy's office. So he's like, not only is he a psychopath trying to figure out what the hell's going on with my daughter, he's drinking room temperature eggnog,
that is?
and that's insane.
That's a Christmas movie, Declan.
That's insane.
That's a Christmas movie.
All right, are you guys eggnog guys? Because I am an eggnog guy.
No.
But it's got to be cold.
It's
got to be cold.
I used to be until the lactose problems, and now I'm not.
Yikes.
Well, just like a little... If you're safe on a Friday night, you know that you can go to the bathroom at will. Just a little bit of spiked eggnog, little brandy.
The problem is with the lactose problems. Once the stomach starts to run, it's not like go to the bathroom, it's done. It's like the rest of the night the stomach's going. But yes, as a kid I used to love eggnog. Now I'm not so much a fan of it.
All right, I think this is the part of Action Movie Rewind where Judd and I are probably gonna fight it out a little bit, because my least favorite part about this movie is the end sequence. The shot at the title sequence.
What?
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Wait, so you suspended your disbelief for this entire film until then?
I was okay suspending my disbelief until this scene, all right? Let me walk this up. So they lure Mr. Joshua back to Murtaugh's house. And a few things happen here. So, number one, the leader of the operation, General McAllister, is already dead. They have already killed General McAllister.
Hollywood Boulevard, he got blown up.
They have mostly killed all of the rogue militiamen. They have uncovered this secret drug ring that's been going on for 20 years.
Yep.
The case is basically over. Like, the leader of the operation's dead. The militiamen are dead. Gary Busey is basically just like the lone rogue guy running around Los Angeles trying to get away with whatever crimes he has committed, right? And so they lure him, and he's still vengeful. Like, he definitely still wants to kill Murtaugh and Riggs and finish off his part of the deal, even though, like...
he really wants Riggs.
But he doesn't have any anonymity anymore. He has been caught, okay?
I think I know what it is, though, and I don't think they did a good job explaining it, but they sort of did.
Okay, well, let me walk up where my logic is.
I'll tell you.
This is like the most ridiculous, dumb ending to an action movie I can ever remember. Okay?
This is a sacrilege right here.
So they lure him back to Murtaugh's house.
Yes.
And then in order to to sneak attack him, they don't just like walk into the house and get him. They drive a police car through the side of the living room wall.
Well, wait. Mr. Joshua had killed 2 cops in the line of duty, had shot them in that car. And so that car rolls on to the fire, not extinguisher, what am I thinking of?
Did the car...
The fire hydrant.
Did the car come in on accident or was it purposeful?
No, they found the car and put the knife to send it through.
Why would you ruin your house?
Because this is Lethal Weapon.
Why would you ruin your house?
In Lethal Weapon 2,
it doesn't make sense.
In Lethal Weapon 2, his house blows up. He's on the toilet, remember?
That's true. I do remember that.
Come on, it's a theme here.
So here's what happens, okay? So
spoiler, sorry.
So they purposefully ruin Murtaugh's house, okay, for no reason, all right?
Yes.
And they arrest Gary Busey
Yes.
with dozens of police vehicles and a police helicopter surrounding the lot and the cul-de-sac or whatever. He has been arrested. His henchmen are dead. His boss is dead. The operation is over. It's done, okay? He's set to go to jail for a very long time. And Riggs says, "What do you say? You want a shot at the title?" And of course, Mr. Joshua wants a shot at the title. It means he gets uncuffed and he gets to have a fist fight in the lawn with, was it sprinklers or rain?
Sprinklers.
Sprinklers.
I thought it was rain.
Oh, I thought it was sprinklers. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's a lot of water. It's a lot of water.
So they proceed in a pointless fight outside in the sprinkler rain or whatever kind of rain it was. Cops are circled around, like literally asking, like, should I intervene yet?
And Murtaugh's
Should I
like,
intervene
no.
yet? So Riggs winds up putting him in a chokehold with his legs, but lets up before he kills him, saying it's not worth it. And then, of course, Mr. Joshua pulls a gun from another police officer's belt, and both Riggs and Murtaugh pull the trigger at the same time to kill him. But my point is, why would you have like 10 police vehicles and all these cops? Right. They've already arrested him, and they've decided, you know what? Let's take the cuffs off and see if Riggs can just kick his ass on the front lawn.
Let me explain to you, okay?
Absolutely absurd.
Undertaker triangle chokehold, too, he had him in his mouth.
Let me
that
explain
fight
this
should
to
have
you,
happened
too.
before the arrest.
First of all, Murtaugh, they continue to ask Murtaugh at Murtaugh's house, should we stop it, boss? Because as Murtaugh got on the scene, they did announce that he is the person in charge until his superior shows up, okay? So Murtaugh is saying, no, he killed 2 of ours. Let him go. Let him kick his ass. All right. So here's the other thing, though, that I don't think that they did a good enough job of building up to, but they alluded to it, and I think it's why Mr. Joshua wants Riggs so bad. I think that they might not have crossed paths directly, but I think they came from the same company of special ops in the war.
Okay. Yep.
And so because the kid who identifies Mr. Joshua as the guy who planted the bomb to blow up the hooker's house looks at the tattoo on Riggs's arm and says, "It's that tattoo. It's that same." And that's when Riggs says to Murtaugh, "We're dealing with something special here." So I think what this was the vengefulness of Riggs and Mr. Joshua having basically both come from good and now one gone bad. And also, I got to look at my notes here quickly because I got one more point to make off of this. Did you see it that the same hold with that Riggs had on Mr. Joshua, but before he says it's not worth it to kill him, is the same move that Riggs used to break Endo's neck.
Yes,
when he's being tortured
with his
with the legs and
triangle choke.
That's his move.
It's a Seagal-like move.
It's a better finisher move than Hulk Hogan's leg drop.
Yeah.
I will give him that for sure.
But I think the end was supposed to be alluding to the fact that both these guys had come from good. Mr. Joshua had gone bad. Riggs obviously was on the side of good.
Let it be known that Judd Zulgad
loved it.
We just reached peak action movie rewind. Judd Zulgad uttered the sentence when a 6-year-old who identified the special ops guy who blew up the hooker's house. That is peak action movie rewind.
That's when the
right
kid
there.
says it's that tattoo. It's that exact tattoo.
But all of these things, like, this is what doesn't make sense.
That was the hooker's house.
If you're planning on the movie ending with this amazing action scene, drama, like 2 special ops guys going at it,
yes,
that has to happen before Gary Busey is arrested. Why doesn't that happen before the cops show up? Like, if that happens before the cops show up, if the cops show up at the end of the fight and like, okay, is he going to kill him or not? And then it doesn't make sense. He's already been arrested. There's no reason to let him out of his detention or whatever.
I get what you're saying.
To fight Riggs in the driveway of Murtaugh's house. It's so stupid.
You're saying.
And I love this movie, but it bothers me.
I get what you're saying, but I feel like at times you like cross this weird line of, well, I'm willing to believe the rest. What was
this is the professional wrestling fan of me. Listen, I know that.
What was the scene, Dex, that Phil didn't like? Was that in Point Break or something?
Which one?
It was in Speed.
Or in Speed,
in Speed, yeah.
In Speed, you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
Because it doesn't. Listen,
it's not supposed to.
As a professional wrestling fan, I am trained to suspend my disbelief up to a certain point. Okay, if it gets to a certain point and it's like, all right, now we've jumped the shark of suspending my disbelief, I will blow a whistle. I am blowing a whistle on the end sequence of Lethal Weapon.
I am not going to whine, moan, or complain one bit about anything that allowed my guy Gary Busey to have the spotlight for a little while longer in this film. Okay. All right.
Oh man. Other things that stood out here. Actually, real quick, Declan, settle the tie here. Who are you more with Judd? Like I'm overreacting to this, or do you see my logic here?
I completely see your logic. I think in general this plot is kind of messy. It's not like I thought this was supposed to be it has good reviews. Like I had high hopes, and I know we're gonna do our rankings here shortly, but I'm with Phil. I think the whole thing is all over the GD place.
It's a little sloppy. I will say the sloppiest part of it outside of the ending is they've clearly stumbled upon a major international drug ring here, right? Like this thing's been going on for probably 20 years.
Sure.
When did Vietnam end? Early 70s? So
74, so yeah.
So this drug ring's been going on for 15 years.
Yep.
And it's led by rogue special ops people who have top-level military-grade explosive devices.
Like the heroin coming into the country.
And you've got like two local city police department guys who are heading this whole operation to take them down. Well, I feel like shouldn't a federal government wing be part of this? Like, shouldn't the FBI be investigating this?
They're not even brought in.
We don't need the FBI.
Here's the
Orlando Police Department.
Here's the thing about the film that got messy and a bit conflicted at times, or confusing, not conflicted, but it was an interesting move. It's the character development. Like, they work really hard. There are, for this segment, there are large chunks of time without people dying.
For sure. Actually, I do have a favorite part of character development. I think sometimes these movies can get too caught up in like, listen, I don't need a lot of character development. Like, Rocky 3 is great. I just need to see Mr. T training at the beginning and then insulting Rocky's wife a couple times. And, like, I'm good. All right, I know that he's a bad guy, okay? So, but I think they wanted this to be about action and also the Riggs-Murtaugh relationship, right?
Correct.
Because it's kind of a buddy cop, Riggs-Murtaugh, the odd couple. And my favorite part about that character development is so Murtaugh is skeptical. He thinks Riggs is a psychopath, but he's kind of coming around a little bit.
Quickly.
And Riggs comes over to Murtaugh's house to eat dinner one night. And Murtaugh says to Riggs at the end of the night as he's walking to his car, "Hey, do you really like my wife's cooking?" And of course, like most people in that situation, to not upset whoever it is in the family, would say, "Oh, love your wife's cooking." And Riggs goes, "No, see you tomorrow." And Murtaugh smiles because he knows if he can tell the truth about my wife's cooking, I can trust him, and he'll tell the truth to me about anything, right?
Absolutely.
So there was some pretty good character development in this movie.
I can't believe I'm about to go here, but I will, okay? I can't believe I'm about to say this. Mel Gibson and Glover are good actors. Like, they're legitimately pretty good.
Yeah.
Or very good at times, okay?
Yeah.
I would hazard to guess that both of them said, if this is going to be like a Seagal flick, we ain't doing it. And in fact, the Wikipedia page on this film specifically said that Gibson had been offered roles like this before and read the scripts and didn't like them because it basically just was bang, 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 bang.
Bruce Willis was actually... They flirted with Bruce Willis to play the Riggs role, I believe.
And he would have been good.
Yeah,
and they eventually played that role basically in Die Hard.
Yeah, but Gibson,
lone
but
cop.
I think Gibson and Glover actually probably, this sounds so silly to say now, actually probably had some script type control of, if you're just going to have me come in and start killing people, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I need a little
because they actually did. I mean, for this era to spend as much time developing the characters, back then, I think was really odd.
Okay, who was your next category here? Who was your favorite character in this movie?
That's not even that's the easiest question ever. Mr. Joshua, Gary Busey's character is phenomenal. Like this guy again, he is nuts. I completely get that he's nuts in real life, but my God, is he good? Yes, he's my favorite.
I'm gonna blow your guys' minds here for a second. Okay, you guys have all seen that kids baseball movie from like 1992, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
where Gary Busey plays Chet Steadman, the old veteran Cubs pitcher.
Yep. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
So it's this kid falls and breaks his arm, and when his arm heals, it becomes bionic, and he throws like 100 miles an hour, and so Gary Busey's like the old, washed up, like sore shoulder veteran pitcher in that movie. Gary Busey is basically playing the same character in Lethal Weapon as Mr. Joshua as he is as Chet Steadman.
Really?
It's as if like Mr. Joshua on the side was also a major league #1 starter for the Chicago Cubs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
if you get a chance, just a little bit of side homework for you. Go watch Rookie of the Year.
All right.
Yeah.
He's great.
All right, Dex, what was your favorite character in this movie?
I love Danny Glover. Danny Glover's one of my all-time favorite actors, so I was all in on him.
I'm too old for this.
And yeah, I'm too old for this line. He's a good family man. He's without a doubt. He was my favorite guy.
I'm trying to find the name of the actor, but my favorite character in this movie was actually the guy who was about to commit suicide jumping off the ledge.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
It was such an over-the-top.
I tried to find him when I was watching it too, and I'm looking on IMDb right now as well, and I still can't figure out who the hell it is.
Dude had great hair.
Jumper. I'm going to Google Jumper in Lethal Weapon. His name was McCleary. Michael Schoener as McCleary. All right. So let's see here. Michael Schoener. I just want to see, has he ever been in any other movies? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, he looks super familiar.
So he does have an IMDb page. All right. Here's his IMDb. He does have a few movies that he was known for. The last time he was in anything was 2008. He was in the TV series Numbers, and he just played like in one episode. He was in Judging Amy in 2004, and he was in a bunch of stuff in the 90s. Nothing I've really ever heard of, though. Blood Fist?
Sounds like a good action movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, should we review it?
Blood Fist. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like something once we get to the end of our list of movies. But that guy, I like that guy. That guy was played.
So he's your favorite?
He was my favorite character in the movie. Oh, man.
Mr. Joshua is so good.
Well, let's get to Mr. Joshua here because our next category is our definitive bad guy rankings here. And so far, the rankings for the other bad guys we've done are Cyrus the Virus from Con Air is #1. Brad Wesley from Roadhouse is #2. Ivan Drago from Rocky IV is #3. Dennis Hopper from Speed is 4th. And the rogue CIA agent James Monroe from The Expendables is 5th. The rest of the list is angry terrorist Ivan from Air Force One, corrupt senator from Hard to Kill, the aliens in Independence Day, Chong Li from Bloodsport, Bennett from Commando, Bodie from Point Break, General Hummel from The Rock, Sloan from Wanted, and the incompetent Russian military from Rambo 3. Judd, where should Mr. Joshua fall on
I
this
am going
list?
to put Gary Busey #1.
Oh,
what,
come
dude?
on.
#1 on my list.
Bias.
Yes,
Come on now.
he's fantastic. He's a great bad guy. I wanted more.
He didn't even like show up till like an hour into the movie. I feel
and
like.
he still left that indelible of impression on my brain. That's what's so impressive about it. I'm putting him #1.
He's very good. I can't. This is gonna wind up being like, we're gonna have to find some middle ground here.
Sorry, Malkovich.
He's not #1.
He's not #1.
I would say I would pretty fairly consider him in the top 5. So like I'll give you I think the movie could have used more of him. So I definitely agree with you on that front. And I almost feel like he should have just been the head of the whole thing. Like do we really need the general guy? Do we really need 2 guys? Like just have Gary Busey be the henchman.
I think Busey was too crazy in their mind to be a believable top guy, but yeah, he could have been the top guy.
They had jumped the shark on so many other things. Like
I know.
Okay, Riggs is too crazy to be a cop, so like maybe not. I don't know.
I'm crazy.
So I'm gonna put him. I'll put him ahead of Dennis Hopper in Speed because you guys know that I'm.
Yeah, you were not high in Dennis
That's
Hopper.
where I'm split. I think Dennis Hopper was better.
I'd put him 4th.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Where would you put him?
I put him below Hopper.
Below Hopper.
Below Hopper.
So would that be 5th?
I put him 5th.
So Judd's got him 1st. I've got him 4th.
Hopper was more involved in the movie, which probably skews my take on it a little bit more.
Here's the thing. I can't put Mr. Joshua I cannot put him ahead of Ivan Drago, who's third.
You guys are disrespecting Mr. Joshua.
This is the most split we've ever
he's going
been.
to kick your ass for this.
All right, so Judd, you're putting him ahead of Ivan Drago from Rocky IV.
Yes. I put him first.
So I have one.
I love Malkovich, but
All right,
I'm putting
we'll
him
split
first.
the difference. We'll put him third.
Okay.
We'll put him third.
That's fair.
All right.
So it's Cyrus the Virus, Brad Wesley from Roadhouse, Mr. John. I can't put him above Brad Wesley. Brad Wesley was in the movie more, was more widely evil and covered more
Busey got
grounds.
screwed by the writers. That's not Busey. Mr. Joshua, it's not his fault. The writers bleeped him.
All right, we need a 1 through 10 Seagal rankings. How many Seagals would you give Lethal Weapon?
You want to start with me?
The top movies to this point are Commando with a 9.2 average score, Expendables, Roadhouse, Hard to Kill, Rocky IV round out the top 5 for us.
I like this film a lot. It tried probably in 1987 to do things that were a little bit unusual for its genre at that time, but I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8, and here's why it doesn't get a 10. The amount of time between kills became disturbing to me. Like, the whole purpose when I do this
But the kills are more meaningful when there's a story behind them.
is for the kill. I understand that, but I wanted more kills. And you could have killed more people. How they don't kill the guy in the nightclub who they established to the viewer that Mr. Joshua is crazy, how they don't like shoot him is a crime.
All right, Dex, what score would you get? How many Seagals?
I give this a 6 out of 10. I think it takes a long time to get to Busey. It starts with this naked woman jumping out of a building. You're trying to figure out this, and then it's a crazy cop who is depressed from his wife's being. There's too many moving parts till it really gets good, in my opinion. There's some amazing one-liners, some awesome acting by Gibson. So it's not. I don't think it's a train wreck, but I'm disappointed by it a little bit. So I would say a 6 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8 as well, and I think the only things that hold it back are just the ridiculously dumb ending to the movie. It definitely takes a point or two off
Who
of
wins
it.
the title, Mackie, huh?
Well,
Who wins the title?
listen, I'd like to see these guys in a 2 out of 3 falls situation. You know, I think Riggs got the first one.
3 stages of hell. I like it.
Yep. So with that, the composite score is a 7.3, which makes it the 7th ranked action movie out of the 15. It looks like that we've done.
So
So
it's
far.
7?
Actually, we've done 14 of them so far.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. So it falls behind Point Break, Independence Day, Rocky IV, and just ahead of Speed, Con Air, The Rock, and Air Force One. It is my turn to choose a movie, and for those of you listening to and or watching on our YouTube channel, we love to throw these out a week in advance so that you can watch the movies sometime during the next 7 days and then experience the review with us on these Fridays or over the weekend if you're listening to the podcast.
I think your choice is clear, by the way.
Well, I had a movie picked
I think you got to
before we
Call
went in here.
Before I got pulled over.
we like to call an audible in the business.
It has to be Die Hard.
It just has to be.
Okay.
I mean, Declan is a diehard virgin. That's breaking news. It's something
It
that
has to be
nobody
Die Hard.
knew. Like, of all the films that I would say, hey, you probably haven't seen, I'm actually shocked by this one.
Get me my detonators. Mr. Takagi.
This film has no problem getting to the point.
No, this movie. Yeah, this movie.
Like, the
seen
character,
pieces.
the
I've just
character
never-
development here is snappy.
But they do a good job. Like
They
you
do, yeah.
know who the characters are. You know what they want.
It's well done.
Yep. So
I'm not ripping
all right,
it.
Die Hard is Die Hard. Also, we might be approaching. This might be on the Mount Rushmore of action movies too.
I would like to call for a vote as well. Next Friday, I think we need to hash out officially more of a Christmas movie, Lethal Weapon or Die Hard.
Okay.
Because I think back to back, and if people want to tweet us as well, I think back to back, we really can hash that out.
I think you'll find that it's Die Hard, but it's worth a conversation.
I have my doubts.
I would
now.
argue that Die Hard 2 is actually more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard.
And we're
Because
getting
Die
close
Hard
to
2
sequels.
takes place with snow involved. Because
Okay,
it takes
see
place, I
that?
believe it takes
Oh,
place
boy.
at a different
Here we
airport.
Okay,
go.
but we're not talking about Die
Here we
Hard 2. We're
go.
talking about Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, both in Southern California.
Yep. For the record, I don't want to give away too much, but I was going to make Judd watch his first ever Bond movie
Never seen one.
Okay.
as part of it.
That's
but
fair.
we'll get to that
We'll
at
get
some
to it,
point.
yeah,
So, all right.
absolutely.
Action movie rewind.
Way to go, Declan.
Partnering on this.
Partner again?
Yeah, some cat he's on loan from dope. Real burnout on the ragged edge.
Hey, look at that, will you? Not bad for an old man.
Hey, step aside, old man.